Please rise. Welcome to the April 20th Town Board meeting. We say the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Roll call.
Councilmember Daniele?
Present.
Councilmember Istvan?
Present.
Supervisor Albrecht?
Here.
Councilmember Foreman?
Here.
Councilmember Rye?
Here.
Okay, I just want to make one change to the agenda. We want to add one item for special consideration, a license for an ice cream vendor for discussion and resolution. So I'll make a motion to add this to the agenda. So I'll present this in motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Carmine, all in favor?
Aye.
Next up is acceptance of minutes, Town Board regular meeting, March 16, 2022 at 7 p.m. I present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Daniele, all in favor?
Aye.
Next up is public hearing for unsafe property located at 448-450 Van Wyke Lake Road. Make a motion to open up this public hearing. Can I have a second?
Second.
Rye, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we're having a public hearing right now for unsafe property on Van Wyke Lake Road. Anybody like to speak about it? Sir?
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. My wife and I built our house.
Sir, can you just say your name for the clerk?
Donald Jenkins.
Closer to the mic.
Thank you.
Donald Jenkins. We moved here from Syracuse in 2013. Couldn't handle the snow anymore. But we built that house. It took us 2 years to build that house, our home, currently. And we finished in 2014. And that piece of property has been an eyesore ever since I've been there. I can understand having to go through the challenges of trying to fix the property. But what about the vehicles that have been there for 10 years? And if somebody's well gets polluted because of, we don't know what PCBs are going into the soil and into the water table, there's going to be a real problem. A real problem. But I appreciate what everybody's doing. I applaud the process. I feel sorry for the guy, but it's not my problem. It's the whole community's problem. Like John said to me the other day, he said, you know, there's kids at the Sharps Reservation that are only 100 feet away from this piece of property. How do we know that there aren't kids going in there doing drugs in the middle of the night? How do we know there's 55-gallon drums on this property? Nobody knows what's in those. There could be all kinds of things. It's just a total disaster. And it's a crisis waiting to happen. So I appreciate all of your help and your efforts. So I wish he could do something with it, but I don't think he's going to at all.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're quite welcome.
Anybody else? All right, board members, spoke to the bill inspector. He's in contact with the property owner, so I'd like to make it short, continue this public hearing for another month. And if it's not completed by next month, we'll act on this. You guys okay with that?
Fine.
That's fine.
So we're going to continue this public hearing for 1 month. What's the second meeting in May?
The 18th.
So we'll continue this meeting to the 18th. And if he doesn't comply by then, we'll move on it. Fair enough? Okay, make a motion to continue the public hearing till the 18th. Can I have a second?
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Next up is privilege of the floor for general town items. Anything relating to the town of Fishkill, you can speak right now. Anybody wish to speak? I see your hand up. Mr. Cantor? Superman.
Gentlemen and ladies, opening day has been canceled for this Saturday, all right, because of lack of equipment coming in, among other things. It's going to be held the following Saturday. Lineup is at 8:15, parade starts off at 8:30, all right, and ceremony will be at 9 o'clock. And I thank you.
Thank you. Write it down, Greg. Anybody else? Mary?
Mary McGeary. I watched last week's meeting, and from what I gather, Mr. Foreman, you are our liaison with the building department.
Correct.
I'm going to try to keep this as calm as I can. I know budget process is not really in the works right now. I would like to make a recommendation that the town please look forward to getting us another full-time building inspector. I feel our building inspector is overwhelmed, and I'm being very polite with that. I'd also like to throw out there, if at any point, I know I can't put anything on the agenda, I don't know if the town can do something, but as a community member who's been participating, for lack of a better word, in these meetings for 5+ years, I would really like to have some sort of a presentation done to explain to the community members how things are done. What is the process as far as a building permit? What is the process as far as getting something approved at the planning level, having your plans approved, site plan approved, and 5 years later, nothing's been done? And then when you inquire about it, they don't have a building permit, so they can't do anything. So I'm a little confused as to what the process is. I don't want to be that person, but the town is making me be that person. I'm getting tired of coming to these meetings and complaining about asking for forgiveness as opposed to permission. I need to know what the rules are. I need to know how it works. If I need to get electric done in my house, I got to get a building permit, I pay my $50, I get my electrician to come out, I get a New York State inspector to come out, I pay him his $171, I bring it in, and I get my certificate. What is the deal when people start to do work that's quote-unquote on their site plan, but they don't get any building permits? Or what happens if they have a site plan that's been approved for 5+ years, and there's roughly, I don't know, 23 things on the site plan, and one thing has been done so far in 5 years? How long is a site plan good for? I really feel that our building inspector, zoning administrator, / planning administrator, / MS4 administrator, he's overwhelmed. And again, I'm being polite because I'm not going to use the word I want to use. So the town has a responsibility to the community members to, A, get us another building inspector, or B, the current building inspector that we have that's part-time, see if he can take on a full-time position and release some of the stress so that things are being done right, safely, and everybody's playing by the same rules. Thank you.
You want to work with me at that, John?
Yep.
All right. Anybody else? Thank you. Next up, Liaison Report. You got anything, Louise?
Yes. Oh, did we miss something? Supervisor comments?
Oh, did I pass my comments? Yeah, there's just two things. When's the comp plan due?
May 7th.
May 7th. If you have any comments for the comprehensive plan,
Excuse me, May 9th.
Survey.
survey, please have it to us by May 9th. The last meeting, we asked for recruits for the new Veterans Committee. So far, we got 5 members. We'd like to get another 2 people, so please contact us if you want to be on our committee, and that's all I have for tonight. Next up is Liaison Reports. Councilwoman Daniele.
For the Village of Fishkill, I attended a Village of Fishkill trustee meeting last Monday where they approved their yearly budget. I also attended the Renegades opening day with Mayor Martin on the board, which I'm sure Councilman Rye will tell us all about when it's his turn. The planning board, we have items on the agenda that we'll discuss when they come up. For water, I had a meeting this morning with Mike from Camo, Paul, and Joe. We reviewed some of the many projects that they're working on, including a potential hookup for the new firehouse that's proposed on State Road 52 across from the Old Seasons Restaurant, continued Snook Road well approval, working to assist the Village of Fishkill with water supply while they do their upgrades, and a leak was fixed last week in Beacon Hills that had nothing to do with the upgrades that we did, and a few other ongoing projects. The rec center, last week I was away, so I was unable to attend bingo, but at least I didn't lose because I wasn't there. May 5th will be Cinco de Mayo party, and Jay's looking for a few more field hockey players for the newly formed team. And also, at times I work with Olympia because she gets the report from the ambulance the monthly report from the ambulances, and this month she found a few mistakes, and she saved the taxpayers a few $100s, so I just want to thank her for doing a great job and finding those mistakes.
Councilman Esteban.
Good evening. Fred Cantor took my thunder about the Little League update. Thank you, Mr. Cantor. So it's been postponed to next week. We have all the details with all the lineups and everything, so thank you for letting us know, Mr. Cantor. We are working on a couple of things at the rec center. Luis and I are working on putting the handrails in. We're soliciting a couple more bids so we can move forward with that, to work with Brandon on that also. With a couple other things, be meeting with the parks, Brandon and Brian, to go over a couple projects that we got going on. We're hoping to move forward with our handicap playground. Councilwoman Daniele and I have been working on that. We have a couple nice bids that we're going to go through and finalize that. Beside that, I think we're up to date, and I'll hand it off to whoever's next.
Councilman Foreman.
Okay, so met with the building inspector and controller on, I believe it was Good Friday. We'll talk a little more about that under new business. We all attended, including the town clerk. Last night, opening night at the Renegades, and we also, all of us, attended a annual Palm Sunday breakfast at Dutchess Junction Firehouse. And the rest I'll leave under for new business.
Councilman Rye.
All right. I know that we have a certain item about George Washington's sword, and I want to talk about a nice little development there, but I'll wait until that comes up on in the agenda to discuss that. For the vets meeting, I'm very happy to hear that there are some volunteers that are occurring out there. Virgil Capillari is a very nice guy that's offered to take the leadership at this particular point, and so he will be there at the May 3, should be the meeting for the vets right here. And that's going to be, I'm not certain of the time, did we say 6 o'clock, I think?
If you give me, you can keep talking.
Okay, 6 o'clock I believe it is. Yeah, I know the exact information will be posted. The 5/18, on 5/18, the meeting that we're having here at the town board, the drug presentation, I'm going to tell you, it's going to be so extremely robust. There's so many things that I'm learning that we're going to be imparting to the town from town level to county level on a lot of activity that's going on to not only combat, but also provide services to people who are seeking to get off the addiction. And this is all about just providing information. This is not about making judgments because we know it's a disease. And so I just want to be clear about that. I believe, very important, I had a great meeting with the Highway Department actually the other day, and I'm kind of working with them to challenge them on where are we going with the Highway Department, what's the future look like, et cetera, et cetera. And we all know that the Highway Department, and I know you're listening, is run very well, and we're very proud of them, and they're very responsive in a lot of different ways. But one of the things that I did discuss with them, that's the reason why I asked you, Supervisor, before the meeting, is the status on the webpage update, is that we're kind of talking amongst ourselves over there, but I'm sharing it now. Wouldn't it be great if the Highway Department had a separate page so they can make updates on where to watch out at a particular time for road construction, or to be more responsive to people who need to submit a project? In other words, there's a hole in my street, it's been here for a long time, can we take care of it? I know there's a process now for submitting, but there are a lot of things that we're discussing about it being more responsive and easier access, and I think it's just one of those services that we can easily provide. But we'll talk about this more as we get more ideas and work in conjunction with the upgrade on the webpage.
That's it.
That's it.
Okay, Renegades?
He meant, you stole his thunder.
What's that?
The Renegades.
No, I said he was going to talk about it.
Well, we had a great time, and I'm sorry, I can't believe that I forgot that either. Kind of bad. You did allow me the opportunity to point that out. I mean, it was great. I'm very glad that I said, hey, let's create a liaison with the Renegades, and it's just evolving into a really positive thing. We were well received. They appreciated us coming out for opening day. We had a proclamation. A supervisor read. It's a little lengthy. It's okay. And Carmine helped get a key so we could make sure that the supervisor could give an honorary key to the town. Anyway, it was just a fun thing to do. And going forward, of course, we're going to be emphasizing the Fishkill Serves Day, which will be in conjunction with the Little League and the whole process of collecting non-perishable foods to give to the food pantry. A percentage of the tickets on that day are going to be also going to the food pantry. And so they have been marvelous to really engage with us in the community, and I'm very grateful for the Renegades. So,
Well done. So next up is a presentation regarding RealTerm Energy about our street lights, and the gentlemen are here. The floor is yours. You got 10 to 15 minutes, gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for having me here. My name is Steve Harriman. I head up business development for RealTerm Energy in the U.S. Northeast. RealTerm Energy is an ESCO, an energy services company. We are an integrator. I think we're all living in inflationary times currently. We've got almost a decade of low interest rates and almost non-existent inflation. Prices for almost everything, including energy, are likely to rise much faster than we're accustomed to. The sooner the town converts to LED, the street lights, the more you'll save over time as the cost of energy inevitably increases. And by gaining control of the street light assets, you'll greatly reduce energy as well as O&M costs. You'll improve operational efficiencies, and you'll also be able to take advantage of emerging smart technologies. Street lights represent the largest expense for a municipality. And we're on page 3 of the document that all the council members and staff should have. You folks, you've got a TV screen. So, talking about reducing this expense by 81%. In order to do that, you must purchase all 659 lights, street lights from Central Hudson. State law allows you to do this in New York. Now, RealTerm Energy has upgraded 300 individual communities, many in your area, such as Warwick, Florida, Piermont, and recently Monroe, Suffern, Cornwall, and Seacliff in Nassau County. And New York municipalities have collectively purchased just over 84,000 utility-owned streetlights since 2015. These municipalities not only capture the energy savings, they also capture the maintenance savings, which you do not reduce very much if you just have Central Hudson upgrade the streetlights. You will not capture as much of the maintenance savings. This is really important as maintenance represents 2/3 of your utility invoice. The village of Millerton, also in Dutchess County, is a customer of ours, and they put an analysis together, and they clearly showed that the maintenance fees barely change when the Central Hudson does the upgrade. They also have Central Hudson as their utility. In addition, by purchasing the streetlight assets, you gain control over the lighting designs, as well as any possible enhancements such as public Wi-Fi deployment, traffic counters, air quality sensors, etc. Now, if we go to page 10,
did you say 600 lights?
yeah,
You got a count? You got a count of our lights?
Yeah, we got a utility bill from Greg that provided the utility bill, and that's what we based this analysis on.
Okay.
So on page 10, why change? If we go to the preliminary before and after inventory, the electrical consumption for the old antiquated streetlights that you currently have is very high. We're looking at 86 watts to as high as 496 watts. And this is due to the bulbs that get replaced in these street lights. They produce these blobs of light where the light is dispersed everywhere, in people's yards, in people's windows, in some cases where it's not intended. LEDs, on the other hand, are inherently directional. So we can get more light on the ground, on the roadways, on the sidewalks where it's supposed to go. You'll see that the highest LED wattage is 135 watts to replace 450 watt HID, which is the old technology. That represents a 70% savings. Typically what the utility will do is they'll change out one for one. So if it's a 150 watt high intensity discharge lamp, which is what you currently have, they'll put a 75 watt. We do things a little bit differently. We do one for one. We do actual design work, which should be very appealing. So under operating cost analysis, you'll see that there are 650 total streetlights. 254 are pre-existing lights. So there are 405 streetlights to be converted. And if we go over the table here, you'll see that the current consumption in kilowatt hours is just over 253,000. Post-upgrade, we're looking at just over 69,000 kilowatt hours. So that represents a savings of 72%. Now, what's really important here are the delivery charges. To get the electricity to the light, we're going from what you're spending right now is just over $186,000 annually. Post-upgrade, you'll be spending just over $14,000. That represents a savings of 92%. Total street light expenditures, you're paying just over $211,000 right now. Post-upgrade, you'll be paying just over $40,000. That represents 81%. Again, delivery charges are getting electricity to the light. Supply charges represent energy supply / generation. If we go to page 14, so what we have prescribed here, or what we suggest, is a TELP financing structure. It's used in all 50 states. The lenders are exempt from paying taxes on their funds. The low interest rates rival municipal bonds once you factor in the administrative fees. RealTerm Energy canvasses a pool of lenders to get the best terms and the best interest rates for our clients. RealTerm Energy does not put any margin or any fees on the financing. We simply offer it as a service. The nice thing about a tax-exempt lease is it doesn't show up as debt on your balance sheet, so it doesn't crowd out the town's borrowing capacity. As you can see from the cash flow analysis, even with the smart control option, even in the first year, the town is cash flow neutral. Operating costs are high because of the project implementation time. So there's 6 months where you're going to have the old street lights. So we factor that into it. And even in the first year where the savings aren't there, you're still cash flow neutral. So that's cash flow neutral over what you're currently paying for the street lights now. In each subsequent year, the town is cash flow positive over the current operating budget. And cumulative savings over the term are just over $325,000. So the good news is you can upgrade all the streetlight assets with no upfront costs or any civic funds. You don't have to find the money. You're already spending the money right now on your old streetlights. I'm going to go back to page 9. Sorry, I'm all over the place. I just wanted to cover what I think is important to the town. Okay. So 20-year total project savings are just over $4.1 million, and that's for the smart control option. Acquisition cost is based on purchasing all 659 streetlights at approximately $400 a light. And we took this from the completed projects that we have in New York State, which averaged about $274 per light for the acquisition cost, but we don't believe this lower number is going to be representative of what we think the price is going to be to acquire the fixtures. And you're going to want to put that call into your representative at Central Hudson and ask for your acquisition cost, because they'll tell you, we'll get back to you in 3 months.
That's if you can get them on the phone.
That's if you can get them on the phone, and we'll give you the contact, and we'll assist as much as we can, but again, it's, at the end of the day, you're dealing with the utility. If we can just go to page 12.
So the energy cost is based on what, like month, what year for this report? I mean, is this current, is this up to date?
Yeah,
What we're being charged now?
Exactly.
Okay.
So when I got in touch with Supervisor Albra and Greg, I
Oh, so
said,
you got
send
a
me
bill,
your,
right.
send me your most recent utility invoice from Central Hudson, and we had our estimating team put those numbers together. So this is based on what's happening right now. So this isn't the kind of thing that happens overnight. Once the professional services agreement is signed, we're looking at 9 months. The IGA, the investment grade audit, which is a business case, that's what we produce when I'll send a team here, we'll audit all your streetlights, and we'll do all the designs. We'll do everything, firm up the numbers. That is the next step in our process. I'm going to go back to page 3. I'm almost done, Supervisor Albert, I know you're pressed for time. So, this is what we offer in the next phase of this process, is the GIS, GPS inventory of all the existing streetlights with photometric designs. The reason that we get 81% savings is because of our design work. We design for all regional characteristics, so for intersections, for school crossings, for hospitals, for neighborhoods, for subdivisions. We design for each unique roadway. And we'll look at color temperatures, but we work with you on that. We want your input, because some neighborhoods will want a warmer color temperature, like a 3000 K. We can offer that, not a problem. The cost of the IGA is in around $42 to $45 per light. That's what we charge for the IGA, to put that bankable report, which takes us about 6 weeks to put together. What it does, it firms up everything that you're seeing here. And what we do, because you're hiring us for professional services, and Steve, you can certainly speak to this, we offer an open book approach. So we show you what we're charging. We lay it out, all out in the line. We're completely transparent. RealTerm Energy is installed, page 4 through 7 would be next. RealTerm Energy is installed over 350,000 streetlights. We've managed complex projects that involve replacing 40,000 streetlights. We've installed over 55,000 smart controls. All our services are in-house, so that means communications are tight and we're able to keep our costs down. At Cornwall, they recently chose RealTerm Energy, and we were $200,000 cheaper than NYPA. When we engage with so what we do is we evaluate the fixtures. We go to the North American manufacturers, and we ask them to submit their pricing. So we do all of the bidding, the RFP on behalf of the municipality. Same thing with your local contractors. We employ local contractors, and we make sure that they're vetted. We make sure that they bid and provide pricing on every eventuality that's out there. As far as post-upgrade maintenance, we take care of that for you. We charge $250 a light per month, and we take care of all of the maintenance. You don't have to worry about that. A lot of municipalities have told us we don't want to be in the streetlight business. That's our business. We take care of that for you. Smart controls. Cornwall wanted smart controls to count cars and measure speeding. Monroe wanted to be able to brighten up certain areas of their village for the Hasidic community. Hempstead, they want to put public Wi-Fi in. We can do all of this with smart controls. Not only that, you're going to have certain residents that don't like change, and they're going to complain about that bright light in their window. With smart controls, you can access that light from your desktop and dim it down. You're in total control. You don't have to rely on residents calling you and telling you about outages. You'll see them, and you can take care of them right away. We'll do that for you. Any questions?
Louise?
I'll go last.
You go last, Carmine?
Let me just think for a second. I do have a question.
All right, I'll go with my questions. If something happens to a pole or a pole needs to be put up, who puts up the pole?
Who puts up the pole?
Pole, light pole.
The local electric contractor.
So if a car hits a pole and breaks the pole, who fixes the pole?
We'll take
Central
care,
Hudson?
we take care of that for you. So we'll basically bid out the pole, the replacement pole, the light, the arm, and then we'll contact whoever the electrical contract is, and they'll take care of it.
How long does that take?
It could take, well, I mean, if you're looking at lead time, generally, that could be anywhere from 6 to 8 weeks.
So on Route 9, a truck hits a pole and it's broken and there's no power, it's going to take 6 weeks to fix that?
Well, unless you have inventory. If you have inventory, not so. I mean, if it's a Cobra head fixture, which you can buy from your local distributor, we can fix that within weeks.
What do you mean by inventory? We have to store poles and lights and things like that?
Yeah, if you have some, well, no, you don't have to. You can go to your local distributor and get the equipment, no problem.
Okay,
So the electrical contractor that we bring on and we vet, they would contact the local electrical distributor, get whatever light they needed to get whatever pole they have in inventory, and replace that pole.
But that could take 6 weeks?
No, that's more for decorative lighting, because you do have decorative lighting in your system. So if you have a decorative
No, what I'm
light,
talking about, if a car hits a pole and breaks the pole and there's no electric in the neighborhood, how hard is it, how long does it take to fix the pole?
oh,
to get
okay,
the
so
power
you're,
back up?
okay, so that's up to Central Hudson, has nothing to do with us.
That's Central Hudson?
That's Central Hudson 100%. So could it be 6 to 8 weeks? Could be.
No, I'm serious, because we have a lot of storms here and the power goes out. It's usually a pole breaks or something like that, and if we can't get power,
That's Central
relatively
Hudson.
quick.
Yeah,
So
that's
Central Hudson.
whoever's providing power to that light pole. So Central Hudson would have to take care of it. That would be your call.
All right, so what if a development wants to add lights? How do we do that?
We can bid that out for you.
You bid that out so that we can make that happen?
Yes. And again, we'll go to the market for you.
So right now, 405 out of the 659 lights are not LED?
That's right.
Okay. And when the term expires, what happens then?
When
Our contract expires with you, what happens then?
well, then you owe us $1 and you take over the streetlights.
Who takes over the streetlights?
You guys do.
So we can't give it back to Central Hudson? Doesn't
No.
work like that?
You don't want to give them back to Central Hudson.
So
You don't want to
you-
give them back to Central Hudson because if you don't take over the streetlights and just get them to do it, you're going to be losing out on a substantial amount of savings, which are the maintenance.
So you're going to say, how long are these contracts?
Well, our cash flow is a 5-year term.
5-year term. So after 5 years, this would be open up to bid for anybody else that want to get into this?
To what, to the maintenance?
No, this contract of yours.
No, it's over. You guys own the lights. You paid for them.
So then who's going to maintain them afterwards?
Whoever's under contract.
So then the contract would be open for bid for someone else then?
Correct.
We can provide ongoing maintenance services in addition to that. So one of the things that Steve was mentioning before is that we do provide.
Introduce yourself, sir. Come to the mic, please.
Yeah.
One of the things that Steve was mentioning was that we do provide ongoing maintenance services during the whole process of the installation and through the whole amortization period.
Mhm.
In addition to that, excuse me, we do provide a maintenance dashboard so you can have visibility of your assets. That's how we perform our own maintenance contract, and we keep all records of all maintenance that's performed on all those lights. At the end of that 5-year term, we will still be there to be able to provide that maintenance for you, as well as full visibility and a repository of information that keeps track of all maintenance and repairs every year, year over year.
Well, you would be looking to continue the 5-year contract, right?
Correct.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
But in theory, if another company did the same type of work, they could bid for it.
they could,
If you wanted that, yeah, if you weren't happy with the service, sure.
exactly.
But we'd be locked in for 5 years.
But, so these are 5-year terms. So hypothetically, we can't go back to Central Hudson? What is the fail-safe? Let's say this goes sideways in 5 years, so we want Central Hudson to come back and take the lights. Are they obligated to take the lights back, or are we out of luck?
I believe you're out of luck.
You're out of luck. So then we own forever.
Yeah.
Okay. My last question is, what do you mean by Wi-Fi capacity? That's a big thing around here.
Yeah, that seems to be the ongoing sentiment with a lot of municipalities. So you can put a Wi-Fi connection on top of the fixture, much like a smart node.
So we would own that too?
Yeah.
So we would charge the residents, or we can give to them for free? Has anybody done this in a town?
We have several that are looking to do it, yes.
But you have nobody that has done this yet?
Not yet.
So what are you looking at a cost to do a town of 25,000? What would that cost to do town-wide Wi-Fi?
I could put together a quote for that.
Okay.
But yeah, if that's something you're interested in, that's something that, we had a conversation, like I said, with Hempstead about this exact same issue. They were looking to enhance the Wi-Fi signal around the library. So what they would have to do is take one pole, run fiber, cable, or copper to it, put the one node, and then put in 3 repeaters. That would give them 1,200 1,200 feet of a good, strong Wi-Fi signal.
Got it. Are there any municipalities that run their own electrical in-house? The town of X has their own streetlight division. There are.
There are some towns, yeah.
Any in New York?
I'm sure there are, none that I'm aware of.
Okay. Anybody here got any questions? John, Brian?
Well, I mean, this is all brand new tonight, and obviously on the face of it, it seems like, why not? It looks as though we could save money.
No, you will save money.
Do you have some references, some happy municipalities with phone numbers and contacts where we could call and maybe ask them some in-depth questions, and it would enable me to come back to you with potentially some more questions?
Absolutely.
So if you can email those to the supervisor, he can get them to us.
Yeah, I'll provide you with several references that speak to our work with those municipalities.
Right, in the area?
In the area that have
Yeah.
actually had to buy their fixtures from the utility and have us upgrade them. So, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think
We
after
do have
that,
some references in that proposal as well
okay.
that are local.
John?
That was going to be my comment. I mean, we have the town of Cornwall, 499 fixtures, Village of Nyack, 420, so that's kind of in the ballpark as to where we are. So I think we probably make some phone calls just to take their temperature and make sure they're happy.
Absolutely, that's what we work towards.
So basically, what is the buying? You said X amount per fixtures? Was it $40 per fixture we had to buy? Well, how does that work?
Phase one.
$400 for acquisition cost?
To buy our streetlights from Central Hudson, what's that going to cost?
We estimate $400 a streetlight. That's a high-level estimate.
So that's
And
400 times 600, was that 24,000? It's more than that, right?
The acquisition cost is,
240,000?
yeah,
I'm sorry, say it again?
240,000.
So the town would have to put out $240,000 to buy the streetlights?
no, that's good, that's financed in the tax-exempt lease purchase.
Yeah, if we go back to the amortization table,
Okay.
that was on, I can't remember which page. it
Let's go
was.
back to that, please.
Yeah, I think it's on 14, if I'm not mistaken, last page.
Do we have to take out any loans or anything like that? That's what we do.
Well, we suggest a tax-exempt lease purchase. That way it doesn't show up as debt on your books, doesn't borrow. Do you have a pretty good credit rating?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, you can get a tax-exempt, many municipalities use these for fire truck purchases. They're all used in all 50 states. Again, it's going to rival a municipal bond rate once you factor in the municipal, or, once you factor in the administrative fees.
What is that term again that you said?
Tax-exempt lease purchase.
Yeah, can you define that a little bit more, because that's a new one on me?
It's a
Tax-exempt
lease. So you're
lease
leasing-
purchase.
Yeah, you're leasing the fixtures over the term.
Yeah,
At the end of the term, you take those assets, they're yours for $1.
okay.
So it's an operating lease.
How are they tax exempt? Because we're a municipality, is that it?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so we put out the 240 and we get it. How long does it take for the town to make that money back?
5 years.
5 years.
Yeah, you're paid off, you own the fixtures, everything's paid off in 5 years.
So there's no savings until the 5th year?
No, there's actually savings in the first year. So if you look at the last page,
All
page
right,
4.
So we put out 240. Explain to me the first year we save 60 grand and the second year we save 100 grand. Explain that to me like that, nice and
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah, so the way that we have it here, with the smart control option,
Okay, go on.
like, I'll try to blow that up a little bit. So with the smart control option, because the first year, we're implementing the street lights, it's going to take us at least 6 months before we put in the new street lights, so the savings aren't there. So after you factor, you've got your current utility costs of just over $211,000 annually, and then you've got your post-upgrade operating costs of $125 plus, your lease payment of just over $85, you've got a zero balance. So you're cash flow neutral in the first year. In the second year, you're cash flow positive by $73,000. So that's $73,000 over what you're paying right now for your streetlights.
Understood. So
over the term of 5 years, you're over $325,000 to the good. So that's $325.
Is that more like 520 with the 240? Where's the 240 playing with that 325?
Okay. So here's your acquisition cost. Upgrade cost, your incentive, which is just over $14,000. So you're just over $457,000 in total project costs with smart controls.
Because your 240 that's your buyback number
Yeah.
from the actual utility.
Well, that's what I'm trying to ask. When do we recover that 240 in addition to the savings?
So that number is rolled into the entire project cost in this example.
You got that, Carmen? Yeah. You understand? Okay. All right.
So-
Carmen, any questions?
But the important thing to understand here is that through this amortization table that we built, that you're basically cash flow neutral by the end of the first year. And that includes 6 months of operational cost at your regular utility rate while we're doing the conversion.
So
And that's why in the second year, you see the big drop in your costs.
So
Because now
that-
you're operating off of, you have the full energy savings.
So we're not writing out a check for $240,000.
No,
No,
It's all in that 5-year term lease.
right.
exactly.
That's
So
right.
this is the beauty of how we can do this with tax-exempt lease financing. It's really at no cost to the municipality. It's a lease payment that's paid off over a 5-year term, and through the captive energy savings cost, this is what's paying back your loan.
Understood. Any
And we've done this
questions?
several times.
Gentlemen, where do you make your money off this?
So this is what Steve was talking about in terms of our open book approach. So we, well, depending on the bid process, normally we make about a 20% markup over cost of EC, so labor costs, and material costs if we do the acquisition of the fixtures ourselves.
So, for example, you gentlemen are like the contractors and you sub out the work to subcontractors, correct?
Correct.
So you're actually facilitating the operations.
Yes.
So
Correct.
you are technically the middleman. on some
We
of the-
are, except for we have expertise in photometric design, GIS audit. There's a lot that goes into the actual project. And when we've, done over 325 jobs now, which would be tens of thousands of different lights that we've done installations for. And through that experience, we've learned the pitfalls of, Stephen mentioned before quite eloquently how, from a hospital to a project to a street light to a highway, you need to be very careful how that lighting is basically shone on the street. And through our years of experience, we've learned how to best do that through our photometric.
So when you put, a pole goes down, like the supervisor said, you put it out to bid. So you put it out to several contractors to see who would be the cheapest, and then you would mark up that actually,
Correct.
yes.
Which is
Okay.
other, more value.
Sure, it's business, I understand. I just want everybody to understand
Yeah.
what you guys do.
100%.
Also, where do you get your LED bulbs from?
We buy total fixtures. We don't just buy retrofit kits, we buy total fixtures, and we get them from the Gs of the world, the Philips of the world, the Cooper Lightings. They're all North American manufacturers that have installations in United States.
And warranties? 'cause
10
it-
years,
okay.
10-year warranty on the lighting fixtures, yeah.
Okay, so first phase, you were mentioned $40 per fixture to start doing it. I think it was. if I'm-
Investment grade audit.
Yes, investment grade audit. Now, that audit, what's that give us, that audit?
That gives you a bankable report. It's basically what our agreement is based on. It's a business case.
A bankable report.
Bankable report, so what it
Explain,
is.
you need to explain to everybody, because no one any idea what you're saying.
What it does is it firms up this proposal. This proposal is based on some assumptions. We need to firm up those assumptions once we get in the field, once we have our auditors come to Fishkill and look at every single light in your town, start looking at wiring, look at the fixtures, look at the state of the fixtures, and then we take that information and we do all the design work, we do all the fixture evaluation work, we work with the manufacturers. So it's a huge process. It takes us 6 to 8 weeks to put this document together. But really, it just firms up, it just firms up the proposal that you have in front of you right now.
So approximately about $27,000 to do that?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
And this
so-
counts the lights, condition of electricity, condition of the poles. Basically, when you're taking control of these assets, you want to understand exactly the condition of these assets that you're going to be taking control of. So we provide you, and that's what he means by bankable information.
Sure.
We provide you a comprehensive report of exactly how many lights there are, the condition that they're in, and then this allows us to be able to move forward with the project from there to be able to do the conversion.
Yeah, and if you decide to upgrade based on this bankable report that we've generated, we just roll those costs into the overall project. So
Right.
you're never out of pocket. You don't have to come up with any funds. Because we're taking those funds from what you're spending on the streetlights right now.
So in your type of line of business, who would you say your biggest competitor is?
I would say NIPA.
Write that down, Greg.
And we're happy to compete. Like I said, I mean, if you
Well,
go...
we are going to put you to competition, and we're going to,
No,
the idea sounds great, but we're going to actually put you to task and make sure we are getting the best prize. if we
Please
that.
do, and please research our references that we will provide. I can tell you, if you go on YouTube and you type in town of Cornwall,
Is that the one I
board
picked-
meeting,
That's the one I picked you over NIPA?
yeah, that's when the Supervisor Randozzo gets up there and says, we have two proposals, one from NIPA, which is $500,000, and RealTerm is $300,000. I think we know who we're going with.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Councilwoman?
Okay. I think Carmine said a few of the things I was going to already say. So you're a facilitator, basically,
An
correct?
integrator, yeah.
Yeah. So we would be paying you to give us an audit study to tell us how many lights we have already that we could find out from Central Hudson that we have?
Not necessarily, no. I mean, you could call them and ask them how many lights they have, but it's much more than just doing a GIS audit. We're doing all the lighting designs. We're doing all the fixture evaluations. We're really making sure that this makes sense for the municipality by crunching all these numbers. I mean, like I said, it takes 6 to 8 weeks to generate all this information, and we're vetting out all the contractors. We're going to all the contractors and saying, here's an installation quote request. Please bid on each item that we've seen installing over 350,000 streetlights. So you can deal with the utility, but they'll tell you how many streetlights you had, but we're going into much more depth than that.
Do you go out and see our lights? Do you take a tour?
We do.
We send someone out, that's why it takes so long. We send someone out that does a full audit of each pole and each light.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just have a couple more questions. So you do a study. Tell me what the hidden costs are, because it sounds good, but anytime I hear no upfront costs, it's not going to cost you anything, it just makes me very leery. So if you had smart options, you're talking to a town that is very low-tech. We're still trying to update our smart meters, so we haven't gotten that far, and there's people who aren't very keen on smart options. If you went that way, wouldn't you have to have program upgrades, have IT people to run it, or if there's any issues? So there's other costs besides what you're saying.
Yeah, if you do go with the smart control option, there are fees, there are LTE fees that go along with that. Most of the smart controls run off LTE, a cell network, so there are fees that go along with that. Do you need an IT person to handle that for you? No. If RealTerm Energy is taking care of all your maintenance, we're going to work with that app, and we're going to leverage that app so we know what's going on in the town. We know which streetlights are working, which streetlights aren't working, and we dispatch the contractor anytime we have outages. And again, that's taken care of by RealTerm Energy. Any dimming, if you want dimming done, we could take care of that as well. If there's areas where you want to magnify the lighting, bring it up at night, we can do that as well. We can design for that.
You said
There's
something
also
about...
Something I just wanted to add in terms of the smart controls. So typically with Cobra heads, which are street lamps, we call them Cobra heads, there will be a photocell design which basically turns on and off according to sunset and sunrise. And then the smart controls option gives you that more programmable control. In the case of being able to have visibility of those assets, all you need is a computer and access to like a URL access through like an Internet Explorer, for example. So you just need to log into it, and you'll have a dashboard that comes with it that you'll be able to have visibility of those assets. And yes, there is a charge to that for an ongoing service, but it's basically a person that would, for example, work in Department of Public Works, would be able to log in and see all their streetlights, whether they're on and off whenever they wanted to, and it's quite easy to use.
So it's another person that would have to do that end of it on our end, right?
What she's saying is we have to hire another person to do this, or it's on you guys?
It would be on us.
Okay.
What I'm illustrating here is that it's very easy to see those things for anyone here to be able to log in and understand it's not very complicated.
All right, so basically for me, I think it sounds very expensive, and I don't think it's a want, I think it's a need. And I think we have other needs that we have to focus on, especially like the rec center roof and other things that are possibly as expensive before we consider something like this.
Anybody else, any follow-ups?
Just want to see the references, and we'll take it from there.
So send us the references. I guess you're going to call that other place,
Absolutely.
and then we'll stay in touch.
Again, thank you for your time, everybody, today. Hope we've
Yeah.
answered your questions. But keep in mind those 20-year savings of over $4 million.
No, I
That's
see
when we
what
think
you're
about
doing.
what you can do with that money.
Yep.
I'll leave it
And
at that.
And that's why I told you 10, 15 minutes. It was over a half hour.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
coming. Okay, we're on to discussions. The first one will be discussion of Washington Sword. I've been working with Councilman Bryan on this. Brian, can you give us an update?
Well, I had reached out to Denise Van Buren, who's national president of DAR, Daughters of the American Revolution. I think a lot of people are familiar with that organization. It was created by Congress like 1890, and you have to have direct descendancy to, people who fought in the war, if I understand it correctly. But she is from the Hudson Valley. She's president of this organization. She retired from Central Hudson when it was good. And and she's so knowledgeable, as you can imagine, on history. And I reached out to her and I said, would you have time to talk to us about the sword? We want to do something to really commemorate this because we have a very big interest in boosting spotlight on our historical background. She said, not only am I interested, but I want to come and meet with you, and I want to talk to you about pretty comprehensively is what she was saying about the history of Fishkill specifically. And so we have an appointment set in July when her term ends. Ozzie and I are going to meet with her in his office and hear what she has to say and what she wants to present, and we look forward to reporting back after that. I'm sure some pretty amazing and good historical information. And hopefully, my question to her was, can you help us find out specifically where this sword was made? We'd like to know the site. And so that's on her mind, and hopefully she has some information along those lines. So,
Outstanding.
yeah.
John?
That's what I have. Denise Van Buren.
Carmine, anything? Louise?
Anything? We'll just wait for the update then and the cost analysis, yeah. Thanks.
All right. Next one up is discussion or I apologize.
When's your meeting?
It is July.
It's not exclusive of her doing this. You want to move forward on the statute, on the sword between the rec center and the police station, right?
Oh, yeah.
So do I. Everybody else okay with this?
When I hear the price, I'll consider it.
I think we could do it for under 90,000.
Yeah.
I have to think about it.
Well, you got to understand, that marble that we have in the War Memorial is pretty nice and expensive.
I
So
know,
we can't, I don't want to put anything cheap back there.
I thought it was 40, so I mean, the cost just doubled a little more.
Well, I'm going to try to get under 90, that's what I'm looking at.
Can you get it under 40?
No.
It's quite a historical piece. John, what do you think?
Try and get the best price we can. I mean, I don't have the,
If I may, I love the idea. I do. But with the prices of fuel, the prices of living right now, we have residents that can't afford to pay their water bill. We're fighting with Central Hudson. And my heart, and Mr. Supervisor, and Councilman Rye, at this point, with that type of money, let's finish our first statue. Let's get that done. Let's see how that goes. It's really going to be hard for me to approve something with that cost at this juncture, with everything the way it is in our United States.
Yeah, we had, at the beginning, I was unfortunate, as soon as I got elected, a month later, we were in this pandemic, and everybody wanted to shut everything down and not do anything because we didn't know what the future held. I didn't do that. We stayed open. We got stuff done, and we're doing very well, especially compared to other towns. So I don't take the cautious approach. I don't think this is a large expenditure compared to our budget. This would be in our 5-year capital plan. And as a board member, as your supervisor, I have nothing but faith in the town of Fishkill, New York State, and the United States of America. So I understand we might have some problems with fuel, and our big problem Fishkill, our big problem in the town of Fishkill is getting employees to stay here because we don't pay them enough. That's our big problem. But we cannot be hesitant to be bold and move forward, because what will happen is we'll get stuck in the mud, nothing will happen, and right now you got municipalities that are opening up, they're behind. They can't get engineers, they can't get people to do work, and our position is, our worst-case position, we were a little back where we can't put up a fence in the Little League field. So we're doing very well, and that's because we were bold during the pandemic. We stayed open, and we increased our revenue during those margins. So just board members, don't be scared to move forward because of the economic positions, because I have nothing but faith in Fishkill. We're growing. It's a very desirable place to live, and I think if we promote our history some more, it'll add to our coffers. So just wanted to put that out there. So the next thing up is discussion of participating in the Hometown Heroes Banner Program.
Wait, I think Becky needs another date.
First meeting in July. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
only meeting in July.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next up is Louise is working on the banners for the Hometown Heroes. You see them in East Fishkill.
Correct. So I had all the information all together for East Fishkill, where they bought them from, how they put them up, how they store them, everything. And then the supervisor had to go to the town of Kent for something, and he
Yes.
said that he saw the banners there and he really liked them. So I'm going to go to the town of Kent. Carmine's offered to assist me, and, we'll look at that and then kind of come back to you and tell us what we think, which one is nicer, how much it costs, and go from there.
Yeah, those look a lot easier to install
Okay.
and maintain.
All right.
Any questions on that, guys?
No.
Thank you.
A couple
So,
months
July. Yep. Next up is our infamous Recreation Center roof leak. I don't know what to do, guys. We put shingles or we tear the thing off. I don't know what you guys want to do. So I'm open to any suggestion.
Mr. Supervisor, as we talked about maybe a couple of meetings ago, that I think we should take a look at the project overall. I believe that we can do both. I think, like we said before, is let's put up RFP and let's get some bids. Let's see where we're at. Let's get some real numbers.
So you're talking RFP for steel or shingle?
Yes, sir.
Everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Just so you know, this morning when I had a meeting with Paul and Joe, our project managers, they were stuck in the mode of having an engineer tell us what should be done, whether we should take the steel off or not.
So we'll just
I'm tired of paying engineers, so
I got you.
if Carmine has another suggestion to see if it's possible.
So Carmine, can you work
Either
with
way.
one of the project engineers to put out the RFP where they do the design? We don't have to keep it really simple.
Absolutely. I
right.
think we can go initially right to the original engineering of the building, the manufacturer. I know it was a modified engineered building, so I think we can find out immediately if the loads can handle the architectural shingles.
Yeah.
So I think we can find that out relatively quick.
You should be our project manager.
Yeah. So Greg, I want to have the RFP prepared for our next meeting on next Tuesday. Carmine, can you come in with me, and we'll work with the project engineers to figure this out?
Yes,
And
Supervisor.
schedule an appointment with me and Carmine and the project engineers next Tuesday, so we can put this out to bid. All right.
I wish we knew this when we were refinancing the rec center. We could have rolled this into that refinancing.
Yeah.
Timing's lousy on that.
Yeah, timing is, yeah. All right. So we'll table that so we can have this ready for an RFP, right? Next meeting?
Yeah, if Joe and Paul can prepare it, we can have it ready for our first May meeting.
So put this to the first May meeting,
May 4th.
Madam Clerk. So have that in the RFP. Next up is discussion of the Route 5282 property. This is not a deteriorated house. As you saw earlier in the public hearing, we identified 4 houses that needed remedial action. 2 complied, 1 we knocked down, and 1 we'll know what we're going to do next month. But there is a eyesore in the intersection of 82 and 52 in the Bickerhoff section of town. And it's a question for the town attorney. Can we move on that based on our existing code?
The answer is yes. Your existing code allows unsafe property proceedings on any building or structure or property in any condition or manner which shall be unsafe as defined under Town Code 50-2. 50-2 is written very broadly. It allows you to take unsafe building proceedings against any property, building, or structure that is unsafe, unsanitary, lacks adequate egress, constitutes a fire hazard, is otherwise dangerous to human life, or which constitutes a hazard to safety or health by reason of inadequate maintenance, dilapidation, obsolescence, or abandonment. Further, it allows you to undertake dangerous, unsafe building proceedings against any condition that presents any other danger to health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the public. So it's really broad. In the event that you find that the property is in a abandoned, dilapidated, et cetera condition, you can proceed as though it were a ramshackle building, and, you know, if you find that it is in fact dangerous, adopt an appropriate order to remedy the property.
So they basically just have the foundation there, and there's a chain link fence, and it's abandoned. I'm sorry?
There's rebar wires sticking up.
Yes. So what would it take for us to just continue here where we get dirt and cover it and level it and plant some seed? I'd be happy with
It's the same
that.
thing as if you were going to take down a dilapidated building. You have to begin the proceeding, the building inspector has to issue a notice, you hold a public hearing, the property owner has an opportunity to come in. If the property owner either doesn't show or shows up but doesn't convince you otherwise, you adopt an order directing that it be remedied. You have to provide specific as to how it's going to be remedied. Do you want it filled in? Do you want it torn down? I mean, what is it that you want to be done?
So, board members, you okay with filling in and flattening it and?
Can I just ask a question here? Do we have a requirement in our code for this type of thing, when someone abandons it, that shouldn't there have been a bond that they put up?
Last year, we changed that law to require that. So that happened pre-me, and now we can require a bond for those type of projects. So I passed that last year. Me and Louise passed that last year.
And the rest of them.
Huh?
Yeah, and the rest of them.
Who is this guy? What happened?
Yeah,
Just
that's a story for another time. Yeah.
And you might not like the whole story,
No.
so, yeah. But we can do that.
Bad people.
All right, and basically what I like to do is just get dirt, cover it, seed it, and that's it. So we can get it to that point?
You can, but you're going to have to go through the exact same.
Of course, but that could be the end result.
If that's what the building inspector can support as being an appropriate remedy, yes.
Supervisor, I think Joel had last said that it was possibly going into foreclosure, but I think we should just tell him to start the procedure.
No,
as
we're
if
going to
it
start the
was
procedure.
abandoned
So
building. Yep.
work with me with Joel to get this done?
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to work with John to get this done.
Supervisor,
I'm sorry, hold on. Carmen?
I know that we can, there's a Porta-John company, I think it's A1, A John. Let's tell them to take their rental out. That's number one, it's flipped upside down. We can proceed with that. There's an office trailer, and there's a name
Write
on the
that
office trailer. We could, Greg, I'll give this all to you tomorrow. The office trailer, we can tell the company that they lease it from to take their office trailer out. And there's several other things that we can call, because there's rental things that are there that we can actually call the rental place. They probably have no idea where these things are at.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Mr. Gaba, do we have the right to do that yet?
You want to call the rental place and tell them
Yeah, so.
Come get their stuff.
Yeah, come and get their stuff.
it's not your property?
Would
you
it
have to
hurt to
wait-
say you got a porta potty that's on the ground sideways?
Well, if you
and-
phrased it in such a way that you said, listen, there's property that appears to belong to you on this lot, which appears to be an abandoned site, what are your position as to the status of this? What do you plan on doing about it? That would be fine, but to direct them to come and take it off somebody else's property, I'm a little iffy
Not to the
about
point
that.
where we fill it in with dirt.
Well, once you have the proceeding and the order in place, then yes, you can do as you like,
So
but
we might be
you're not there
premature
yet.
on that. So the property's fenced, the property is fenced in. All right, what if they say they can't, what if they say they want to get the porta potty or they want to take out this portable office, but they can't get access to it? Are we allowed to open up the fence ourselves?
It's private property. You
So we
go
can't
on
touch
it.
the fence. So we can't do anything basically,
Start the procedure.
all right.
Yeah,
I'll work with
start
John
proceeding.
and we'll move on that. Put it in the July meeting, please.
We do that before then?
I'm going to do it before that, but
Yeah,
this, if we do it earlier, we'll just, because what we'll do is we'll set the public hearing, so it won't matter.
Okay,
So I guess we can't,
Yep,
sounds good.
yeah, for me and John.
so I guess there's no point in making a motion to have the porta potty moved to his front yard, the guy that abandoned it.
No, you'd have to probably fly it
Put
to a
it in
different
his
country.
yard, give it to him. It's a good
Okay.
idea. I thought it was a good idea.
All right. All right, number 5 and 6 are pretty similar. Discussion of proposed local law amending Chapter 29 of the Town Code and discussion of town board policy, police commission. I believe Mr. Galba and our labor attorney are still working on that?
That's correct. The local law is ready to go, but the policy, we're still working on the wording.
Okay. Next meeting, maybe?
Sure.
All right, so let's put this in for the next meeting. Did we already set a public hearing for this? Becky?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right, next meeting,
May 4th.
May 4th. So we'll go to number 7. Discussion resolution to declare used body armor surplus, authorized disposition of it by the dedication to Ukraine. So the town of Fishkill has a bunch of old vests, police vests, and the police department wants to dedicate it to the Ukrainians. And I think it's a great idea, and even though they're old, they're still effective. So everybody okay with this?
Yes.
For consent? Okay. Number 8, discussion of the resolution authorizing the town of Fishkill to renew license.
I think you
What?
need a minute, Becky?
I don't know, you skipped.
What did I skip?
Number 6.
I said 6, I said 5 and 6.
5 and 6 were together.
5 and 6 together.
Yeah,
Next month.
and we'll table those two.
Move to resolution.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got it.
So the baseball Little League contract, okay to consent?
Yes.
Yes.
Number 9, the discussion of resolution authorizing issuance of request proposal for prefabricated steel bidding for the highway department. Anybody got any questions on that?
I mean, I actually talked to, when I saw this on the agenda, I talked to Glenn and Mr. Schofield, and I said, what can you tell me about this building and the necessity for it? It seems to be that they do have a lot of trucks that are outside during the wintertime. This would make maintenance on them a lot more effective if they can take them inside to a building with 4 or 5 bays that are heated. It just seems to be something that will help with overall productivity, you know, with their work, and it seems as though the money is already allocated, so.
The 5-year capital plan.
You know.
Anybody else?
You and I were not here for the original salt shed proposal, so to me, it would have made more sense to actually have a salt shed that had storage included in it. So, I mean, we can't go back in time, but if that's what they need it, so.
Okay, thank you. All right, good. All right, consent, please. Next one up is a resolution to waive the 30-day hold on liquor license for Gymkhana Cuisine of India. Everybody okay with consent on that?
Yes.
All right. Next one up is 11, ID 7741, discussion of resolution authorizing appointment of second deputy clerk, deputy receiver of taxes, deputy registrar of vital statistics. The clerk's office has been very, very busy. It's probably the most busy department in the town overall year-round, and we need to get the clerk some help here, and this is just to see what you guys think about it. So I'll let the clerk give a little speech about what needs to be done.
Make sure you say your name, please.
Your name, your address.
Speak into the mic.
Hello, my name is Becky Tompkins. I'm the town clerk. I wrote this all down because... Is that better, Carmine? Thank you. Good evening, Supervisor, board members. I have identified a need for a second full-time deputy in my office. There have been some staffing changes throughout Town Hall, and it's leaving my office short-staffed. The town clerk's office is the hub of the building where residents stop first for answers to all of their questions. We handle hunting, fishing, trapping licenses, dog licenses, peddling, soliciting permits, liquor license. We're the keeper of all the town records, which produces a lot of filing. Disability parking tags, dog park permits, FOIL requests, records retention and destruction, notary services free of charge to the residents, so everybody knows. Marriage licenses, death certificate processing, telephone duties, mail processing, agenda matters for the board meetings, transcription of all board minutes, permits such as mobile home, garbage collection, junkyard. We do resolutions, filing local laws with the state. We're the secretary to the joint landfill. I pay various bills to all kinds of various state agency. I'm the clerk to the board. We do all receiver of taxes duties, managing 3 separate bank accounts, the town clerk, the tax, and the landfill. We do birth certificates, genealogy searches, overseeing the facility use calendar, secretary to the building and grounds department, all legal notices for the town, bids and RFP work, budgeting for 2 departments. We also participate in continuing education to keep current on changing situations in our field. As you know, the comptroller has identified funding for this position partially from the full-time water department clerk moved, and now there is a part-time position in there, so half of that money can go towards that. The remaining funds are available from fringe accounts, which the comptroller has identified. To continue the effective and prompt customer service that we currently provide, all staff in my office will be cross-trained and have titles to ensure that positions of the town clerk and receiver of taxes can be carried out at all times. The current deputy town clerk will move to be the second deputy town clerk, okay, and be handling all the tax receiver duties and be responsible for collecting and processing all payments per town law, section 37. Myself and the new deputy would hold the titles of deputy tax receiver so that we can help Catherine, because you have to have that title approved or you can't touch any tax money. That's why only Catherine and I can do that at the current time. Also, the need for a second deputy town clerk is necessary for any vacations, PTO, or sick time coverage. The population of Fishkill has increased by 10% from the last census. This increases the day-to-day business that we handle. My office is having difficulty completing projects that aren't our routine day-to-day, everyday business, such as record retention, my minute books, the filing. We just can't keep up right now. And town law does allow for the town clerk to appoint up to 3 deputies. And towns of our general population, such as Wappinger, Poughkeepsie, and East Fishkill, currently have 2 full-time deputies, and I am asking for the same. Thank you for your consideration.
Okay.
Becky, do we ever have it before?
What?
That second position?
No?
Okay, but other towns do?
Oh, most of them do.
Okay.
I'm probably the only one that only has 1 deputy for 2 full-time jobs.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, with that to resolution. Next up is discussion of resolution to appoint Frederick Cantor and Jody Lynn Burke as planning board full members. I see Ms. Burke. Would you like to address us?
We have 2 full-time open positions, so I was asking if the board would consider Jody Burke, if you want to just come up and introduce yourself to the board.
Why you're interested in being a planning board member.
Hi, good evening. Jody Lynn Burke. I'm a lifelong resident of the town of Fishkill. I'm a proud citizen and a taxpayer. I'm also a very proud mom of 2 great sons. One is a sergeant in the United States Marine Corps, and the other is an honor student at Beacon High School. I would like to take the opportunity to sincerely thank Supervisor Albra and the town board for giving me this amazing opportunity to assist in improving and enhancing the wonderful community in which we live.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Cantor, your turn.
Mr. Cantor, next time.
A guy doesn't want to speak. Okay.
Pants, Mr. Cantor.
He always wants to
Pants.
speak.
Not now.
in February, why are we wearing?
Are you a lifetime
No.
resident too?
No.
How many years?
Dress, we have a dress
How
attire.
many, no, wait a minute. I did dress for the meeting, and I did attend.
Yes, he did.
Yes, this is a repeat, so every meeting, please come dressed
Everything's a
properly with
repeat.
pants on.
I was just here, was it a month ago? It wasn't even a month ago,
All right,
was
just
it?
tell everybody again who you are
Yeah.
in your shorts.
And I wore long pants, but I just came from
Let's
another
move
meeting.
on from your pants, okay?
Anyway. Guys, you have any questions about me?
No.
Thank you.
Thank you, Fred.
All right, then we have one more. We're going to, is that okay for consent?
The other one is in the consent.
It's consent, well, Mr.
No, that's just the alternate for VJ, who's an alternate.
The zoning board chair.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Oh, that's in the consent, yeah. They're all in the consent.
he's going to speak too.
Oh, it's not up for discussion.
Hello, Mr. Davis.
You want me to make a speech?
Yes.
2 minutes, no more than that.
Well, I want to thank you for being considered to be chairman of the zoning board. I've been doing it for a couple of years. I've been in the town for 45 or so years, raised my kids here. But I want to thank you for the opportunity and for the consideration.
Thank
I
you.
do appreciate it. Thank you.
Good with consent? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Next up is discussion, where am I here? I'm going to skip anything, Joey. 13, discussion of resolution in support of the working with the project sponsor to develop site development plans and access improvements for the waterfront at Fishkill Phase 6. 13, let me check this one. This is the one that you and me did with Mr. Perna? So, yeah, RPA. All right, what this is about is the town of Fishkill there's about 90 acres at the end of Brockway that are across the train tracks. And when they started those developments back in the 90s, there was supposed to be a big development there, a bridge over the tracks for water access for the residents of Fishkill. Over the years, the Great Recession hit and that project got taken off the table. So what the property owner wants to do is get a letter of support from the town board so he can seek grants so he can build a bridge to get us access to the site. And roughly, I think it's about 90 acres, about half of it's going to be residential, about, 100 homes, he said?
I don't think it's 90 acres. I think it's a lot smaller than that.
Yeah, but they were all very expensive homes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so, and the other half would be dedicated to the town of Fishkill as a park, where we would have a marina and finally water access. But this is not going to happen overnight. This is probably going to take about a 10-year project. So I just want to ask the board members if it's okay that I send them the letter and that we can move on it, and we'll see what happens in the future.
Just so you know, I'm totally opposed to it.
Okay.
Brockway Road is already overwhelmed with developments, especially the Jehovah Witness ones that are expanding now. A lot of residents have come to speak out about how they don't think the road can hold all of the added buildings, parking spaces, everything that they're going to add. So this is one road in and out. So to put a bridge and all the other things that you said, I think is just too much. If there was 2 roads, that I would consider it, but I think it's just overwhelming for the area and for the residents who've lived there for years and pay taxes to have to put up with more is just unacceptable.
Yeah, when that AVR development was built, a part of that sales pitch was that those residents would have waterfront access. What are you guys' thoughts?
Well, I mean, this is, as I understand it, just to allow them to see what they can do as far as, just to see. So the whole approval, there's no plans, there's no approval at that point. I mean, I respect that opinion that you expressed, Louise, 100%. But I mean, to take a look and see where this could go, if it's a possibility, I'm okay with that, you know? I mean, who knows, you know?
Yeah, this property is zoned planned industrial, so they would have to get a zoning variance from the town board, and we hold the cards on that, and we don't have to change anything to accommodate the developer unless it's something that benefits the citizens of Fishkill. And I believe we're the only waterfront town in Dutchess County that we don't have waterfront access. So I think, 10 years down the road, if something happens that's positive, then the future board members could look at it and either say yes or no. So it's just a little search and seek if it's a good idea.
Why
if we
not?
can do it, why not? How you stand?
Yeah, this is definitely a tough one. I think there's a potential of us having a potential park, there's potential for waterfront, there's potential for several things. I just think that if the original plan, and I know by heart, was to have shops down there, some type of restaurants. So I think there's a lot of things that they can do, either townhomes, condos. There's several different things they can do. But I am for looking into see if they can actually get approval to get a bridge over that. I am curious about that for sure. I think we should just seek to see what we can find out first.
Yeah, thank you, Carmen. The original plan was a third of that property would be residential, a third would be commercial, and a third would be a town park with a marina. He's proposing half of it be residential, and it's going to be way less than 100 units, and they're going to be most likely second homes, and then the other half would be a town property. And once the town acquires that property, we could put a restaurant, we could be dynamic with that and get some nightlife or something like that here. So it's just a thought. So we're okay with moving on this?
I'm not.
Just you? Okay. So put that for resolution, please. Next up is discussion of resolution to modify the 2022 adopted DP sewer fund purchase and installation of a pump. It's, we bought a sewer pump. We repaired it twice already. The town's water and sewer operator, Camel Pollution Control, recommended the replacement of a wet well pump in the Dutchess Park Sewer Pump Station after it had failed and could not be repaired. The town is obligated by the general municipal law to maintain a balanced budget in the governmental funds and the preparatory funds. The controller has requested a budget modification to the 2022 adopted budget of sewer fund to allocate funding for the purchase and installation of a wet well pump. This request for the increase in expenditure line SA 81205.0213 Dutchess Park Sewer Sanitary Sewer Expenditures Capital Outlay by $25,888 and decrease the expenditure line of SA 19905.0499 Dutchess Park Sewer Contingency by $25,878. The town board shall consider the proposed modification as submitted by the controller and whether it be in the best interest of the town to make this modification. So they rebuilt it twice, and they couldn't rebuild it the third time. So this stuff happens. We prepared for it. Everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Consent?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, next up is privilege of the floor for agenda items. So anybody that wants to speak?
Oh, wait, you missed one.
Highway.
It's on 15.
Number 15.
Where am I missing stuff today?
James Stoddard.
Oh, that's an important one. We need truck drivers. Number
Yeah.
15, discussion of resolution to appoint James Dodder as motor equipment operator in the highway department. Anybody have any objection to this?
No, I met him. He's a good guy. He's a known quantity. He fits in. They like him. He's going to be getting his CDL, and he's good to go.
And where is he tonight?
What's that?
He's got to come. He's got to come and introduce himself at the next meeting.
All right. Did you hear that, James Dodder?
Is he here?
No.
No.
I just want to mention that James has worked for the town before.
He has. He was at Parks, right?
He was with the building and grounds under Brandon, and
Yeah.
then he moved south, but apparently he's back.
He moved to South Carolina and returned.
Yeah, I've known James since he was 4, and he's an amazing young man.
All right, so you can vouch for him?
Absolutely.
All right, you can disregard then.
What's that?
Disregard.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
All right.
You're off the hook, James.
All right, consent?
Yeah.
All right. He owes you one? Okay. Next up is privilege of the floor for agenda items. Anybody wish to speak about anything on the agenda, please come up and have your say. Ms. LaGoy?
Hello, how are you? I just noticed, and actually I just realized that you are talking about the resolution to authorize modification, adopted general fund budget for animal control officer salary. Just as an animal rescuer in the town, I absolutely propose supporting any funding for animals. However, I am very sensitive to the title of animal control officer. It is not an animal control officer. It is a dog control officer. So, you know, I just in further discussions as you're, looking at this particular position, which I am absolutely a proponent of course, and we need to fund it appropriately, but it really is not an animal control officer. There is a vast majority of animals that are not under the auspices of the animal control officer, so I would ask you to consider at some point to discuss changing that title, because it's not, it's misleading. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right. Next up is consent agenda. I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda. Can I have a second?
Second.
Foreman, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next up is regular resolutions.
All right.
We're okay with just
Wait,
resolves?
Supervisor, 1 second.
5-0. It's okay. You guys okay with the resolves?
Yes.
Okay. All right, let me know when you're ready.
All right, I should be perfect.
All right. First one up is resolution authorizing the appointment of second deputy clerk, deputy receiver of taxes, deputy register of vital statistics. Now therefore be resolved by the town board as follows. Section 1, all whereas paragraphs are incorporated herein by reference and set forth in full. Section 2, the town board of the town of Fishkill hereby authorize the town clerk to appoint a second deputy clerk, deputy register of vital statistics, deputy receiver of taxes in the town of Fishkill at a rate of pay not to exceed an annual salary of $50,000. Section 3, the town supervisor or any other officer or employee as designated by the town supervisor shall take all necessary actions to carry out the provisions. Section 4, this resolution shall be effective immediately. I'll present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Daniele, all in favor?
Aye.
5-0. Next up is resolution to authorize modification of the 2022 adopted budget, fund for attorney expenditures. Now therefore it be resolved, the town board of the town of Fishkill hereby amends the 2022 general A fund adopted budget as stated herein. I present that as a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Foreman, all in favor?
Aye.
Number 3, resolution to support working with project sponsor Waterfront at Fishkill. Now therefore be resolved, the town board of the town of Fishkill hereby supports the project sponsor's efforts to develop this parcel through a mix of public and private uses, and that will provide housing and recreational opportunities to the residents of the town of Fishkill, and be it further resolved that the town board of the town of Fishkill accepts the project sponsor offer to retain a grant writer to work with the town and applying for federal and state grants that may be available to assist the MTA and the project sponsor with the construction of a bridge over the existing railroad tracks, establishing a true public-private partnership, and be further be resolved that the town board of the town of Fishkill encourages the project sponsor to work with the town's planning staff, other municipal agencies, and the community to develop a site development plans for this parcel that contains a mix of public and private uses. I present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Rye, all in favor? Oh, roll call vote. She's gonna know. She's gonna know.
Councilmember Daniele?
Nay.
Councilmember Isfan?
Yes.
Councilmember Foreman?
Yes.
And Councilmember Rye?
Yes.
Thank you.
Got me.
Oh.
Yes.
Supervisor Rye?
Yes.
Thank you for pitching that. I appreciate it.
Okay. Greg, you got the items for special consideration? I got the one. Yeah.
I emailed it to the entire board and you.
Okay. And this was for the permit for a,
Yep. It's
give us-
Twisted Sisters Ice Cream Truck.
okay, that's the discussion. Everybody okay with that?
Do they have pistachio?
You know, I don't know. It's run by Jackie, the same one who does the cluck truck.
Okay.
She's starting a second truck.
All right, so discussion
Chicken and ice
done.
cream.
Everybody okay with doing a resolution on this?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay, whereas the town board approves the permit. Present that as a motion. Can I have a second?
Second.
Daniele, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
New and old business, Brian?
Well, let me find a document here. Only going to take a minute.
Okay.
This is, next weekend, I wasn't going to be at the baseball parade, which I'm going to be now. I was going to be at a march down in the Bronx. I met a very fascinating lady, Maria Trusa. She has a company called Forme Medical Center. Anyway, she's from the Dominican Republic, and she started an organization, No More, Say No More to Sexual Violence. Next month, I believe it's next month. It could be this month. I'm sorry if I don't know it, but it's the month for awareness on sexual violence, and this is going to be a march that this lady put together with the Yonkers Public Schools and the City of Yonkers Mayor's Office. And I've met her at networking events, and she's told me her personal story. It's just an amazing thing. And so I was going to go to this march to learn more about, this effort in this crisis. And I just wanted to say that I'm bringing it up only because it's another thing that's a disease in our culture and around the world. And if anybody needs to know or wants to know more about this march, please just communicate with me via the website, and I will send you the information.
Thank you. John?
Yep. Hold on.
Oh, excuse me?
Hey, Brian, do you want to talk about Miss New York?
Oh.
Ms.
Well.
New York?
It would appear that on May 1, I was going to wait and make sure that, but I think we have everything all together. Miss New York, a very, very wonderful lady, is going to be in Fishkill. She's going to come through. She's doing a tour of small businesses and non-for-profits, and she is going to be coming by the food pantry, and we're going to have Little League there. And we are going to do a little promo for the, basically for the kickoff, if you will, for Fishkill Serves Day. And it's just a surprise thing that just popped and occurred. She's going to be in the area, and she said she would like to do this. And the offer came, would you like for her to appear? And we said, oh my gosh, yes. And so I'll get the details to you. You can certainly, I want you to be there. Thank you. It's going to be at 10:30. We'll have Little League kids, and I've contacted the Renegades. Hopefully they will be there as well. I know they're extremely busy. It's the opening of the season. But if you're watching, we want you there as well. So it's very special. We appreciate her time, and we appreciate the emphasis for this effort to help those in need via the food pantry. Did I miss anything, Carmine? Is that pretty much it? Thank you.
John.
Okay, in my appointment last week with the building inspector and the controller, they have requested both their departments for increases in their salaries. At the last meeting, I had a little rant that this really needs to be done at budget time. That's why the supervisor presents a budget. We spend a month or so reviewing it line by line, and you live and die by that budget going into the next year. We have on several occasions already this year increased salaries in several departments. What I did promise them was I would meet with this town board one-on-one and talk about where they are and where we think they should be, and we're going to have a discussion about it. But I want to let everybody know that that's where we're at.
All right, so Greg, put this on the agenda for the next meeting?
I was planning on attending opening day Little League Saturday. Next Saturday, I am going to help my ex-wife move from Pittsfield to Guilderland, New York. You're all invited to help me when you're done with Little League. Thank you.
Oh, can I?
Yes, you're in. Mr. Gabbard, that's up to you, too. You offers on the table.
Yes, I want to continue what I discussed a little bit about downstate. There is a beautiful little building there that's by itself on Red Schoolhouse Road. I talked to Senator Suserino and Senator Skoufis to help us facilitate trying to acquire that building for a minimal charge. The supervisor and I are going to work on that project. It'll be great to take that building to use it for a senior, maybe for some summer camps. I think it'll be a nice value add, especially if we get it for $1. I hope.
Here.
I think it's awesome.
So it wouldn't interfere with the downstate at all. It's totally separate. It has its own entry, exit. I think it'll be a nice value add, and hopefully I can have everybody's support and try to see what we can do with that building.
Excellent. Louise?
I have a few. For new business, Becky and I met with Ann Lagoy and a few other ladies to discuss a program for trap, neuter, return, place program that Stray Help is involved with. I'd like to bring it up for discussion at the next meeting to talk about how we can help with the stray cat problem we have in our town and how we can assist them. Carmine advised me that he would help me wherever possible, so I can discuss it further at the next meeting if we can.
I'll
bring it
second
up.
that.
Okay, thank you. They also are going to have a bus at the Trinity Church tomorrow. That bus is a mobile clinic, so if anybody wants to call to make an appointment to have their animal spay or neutered, the phone number is 845-206-9021, and ask for Paula. They also have another one on May 19th. Okay, and Greg was going to put that on Facebook, I think. For new business, I also wanted to ask when we first started on the board, I discussed something that was escrow versus fee schedules for projects. When I had my meeting today with Joe and Paul, we were talking about how there needs to be more oversight with projects in our town, especially when there may not be an engineer that's looking at everything in the end to make sure it's okay, except for the engineer that's the project engineer. So I don't know if we can just bring it back up and discuss if we have, if there's...
How about we get the project engineers and Joel at the next meeting to explain what they want?
Sure, that sounds great.
So we'll set that up for, we have no other presentations for the next meeting?
Well, we have the one that I'm going to...
For the apps, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we could do two presentations. So let's do a presentation for fee-based to escrow. And we'll invite Joel and one of the project managers to explain it.
Oh. Okay, thanks. Old business, Carmine, Sharon, and I met with Core & Main Representative Michael Johnson, who presented a customer portal to us. They will come to the next meeting and present it so we can discuss whether we think it's something that we should have. It's something actually that was promised to the citizens by the prior supervisor, but wasn't followed through on. And I think it would be an asset to the citizens, so they'll explain it further when they come to the meeting. And lastly, old business, Sharon was able to get from the Civil Service Department a whole list of people for us to interview for HR positions. So on Friday, Carmine and I will begin with Sharon interviewing numerous applicants, and then we'll pass the baton off to John and Brian, who will then interview the ones that we feel should move on from there. So hopefully soon, we'll have a real HR person working for us.
And we're doing team building.
That's great.
2 thumbs up.
How many applicants do we have for this?
8?
8, I believe.
Wow, it's great.
Yeah, all right. I just have one thing I'd like to shoot by you guys. Anybody interested in moving these meetings from 7 PM to 6 PM? Brian?
It's all right with me.
John? Carmine?
I'm okay with that.
Louise?
It does, whatever is best for everybody else. Is
Are you
that
available
good
at
for
6
Mr.
o'clock?
Gamba?
Sure.
Do we have to change the times or do a resolution or anything for that?
You don't have to do a resolution, I would just have to publish it and then change everything in here. I mean, there's work.
Do we have to vote on anything to do that?
Yes, Mr. Gamba.
Yeah, I would ask Mr. Coppin.
As I understand it, at the reorganization meeting, the board sets the dates and times for its meetings. You do have a provision in your agendas every meeting, setting the next board meeting agenda. So I think if you want to use that resolution to do it for this once, that works just fine. If you want to do it overall and do it forever and ever, 6
Yeah, we'll do it
o'clock,
forever and ever.
then you should have a separate resolution setting the time for 6 o'clock.
All right, so the next meeting will be at 7 o'clock. When is the next meeting?
May 4th.
The next meeting will be May 4th at 7 o'clock here, and we'll do a separate resolution to change the time. Everybody okay with that?
Yep.
So 7 o'clock, May 4th here. I have nothing else. There's no executive session. I'll make a motion to go into adjournment. Can I have a second?
Second.
Danielle, you all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone, for watching. Good night.